Hey, it is Jack Roja back, and I'm sitting down to work on my Cerberus Cheerleader for DragonCon, and I figure since I have all the stuff out, I'm going to walk you through using a pattern. Now, when you use a pattern, there's a couple things you need to know. The front of the pattern will always have the sizing, but your pattern size isn't necessarily the same as your fashion size. So what you got to do is you got to come here on the back of the envelope, and it will have the measurements here. Get that close for you. If it wants to, there we go. And see where it says the different sizes and what measurements you need. So my waist is a little bit bigger than the size 18, but we're gonna do the 18 because I'm using slightly stretchy fabric. Now also, when you open the pattern, focus, you're gonna find the tissue that has the pattern pieces on it. This is what it looks like folded up. Good luck getting it folded back once you use it. And it will show you what outfit needs what pieces. And then here, it shows you what the pieces look like. So I'm gonna do costume B here. And it will tell you here, B top and skirt. And it's, as you can see, it's used pieces 3, 5, 15, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, and 23. Now it shows you the best, most efficient way to put the fabric, to put the stencils on the fabric so that you don't waste. Honestly, I'm really bad about doing this. So if you don't see me doing it in the video, don't judge me. That's just how I do. Now, each piece is labeled with the number. If you have trouble remembering or if you didn't write down the pieces that you need, it will actually tell you. So like here, right skirt front for costume B and costume C. And it'll tell you how many to cut of fabric. And then if it's a piece you need interfacing for, it will tell you how many pieces of interfacing to cut. So if you look here on this edge, see where it has the different sizes? You have to make sure that you cut the correct line for where your size. Now there will be some pattern pieces that will say what piece they are, but they won't have a cut letter. They won't say pattern A, pattern B. So even though it doesn't specify pattern B, because it doesn't specify any particular pattern, that means this piece is used for all of them. I'm having a little trouble getting my phone to focus here. So say you have all of your pattern pieces cut. Okay, so now it's time to cut fabric. And when you cut your fabric, you have to pay very close attention to the pattern pieces because the pieces themselves will tell you what to cut. So I already cut, you can see up there, those are my contrast pieces because I'm doing Miranda's loyalty outfit as the Cerberus cheerleader, and her loyalty outfit and her special appearance pack are both black and orange. And I'm a very, very sloppy person, and having a white sleeve was not really appealing to me, so we're doing black and orange. I got this great fabric. It is like a hexagon texture, and this sleeve here that I'm about to show you is going to show you how specific the instructions are. So pardon my mess here. I have a small space to work in, so I spend a lot of time hunched over like a gremlin when I do this. So what I want you to look at right here, and this is probably the best piece to show you. So this is a piece that goes to two different patterns. So pattern A, pattern B. Pattern A is basically the same top with a pleated skirt. I'm too lazy to worry about pleats, so I'm doing a smooth front skirt that also is going to take less fabric. So see how specific this is. View A, view B. So view A, you're just going to cut 2 sleeves. Like straight up, you're just going to cut 2 sleeves. Now view B here is where it gets interesting. So it says cut one of fabric, which is the main fabric that you have. So this is my main fabric here. I saw this fabric and fell in love with it. This is Cosplay Fabrics fabric, which is Yaya Han's company. And then it says cut one of contrast fabric. Now I already cut the orange sleeve. That was the one that I pointed to over my shoulder. But I still have to cut all of my black pattern pieces. When you look at, let me get the pattern. When you get the pattern, they do try to help you out. And they'll say like, hey, this is how the easiest way to lay it on a folded piece of fabric to get all your pieces. And then see that where this says single thickness, that means this is not cut on a fold. And then it'll see here, it says how to lay it out for contrast and then interfacing. Now I'm really bad about this because usually when I'm working, I'm dealing with a small space. So it's really hard for me to completely unfold my fabric and cut all the pieces. So I'm really bad about not doing this. But if you have this space and the patience, I do recommend following the pattern. The pattern is here to help you. It's not going to do something that's going to mess up your outfit. I'm not going to make you sit through a video of me cutting all of my pieces, but this is a valuable opportunity for me to show you something in regards to what I was showing you with how you would lay out your pattern pieces. So I have two very different pieces here. I have the top of the top, the front of the top, and I have the right skirt front. So what's going to happen with this skirt is this here is for seam allowance. So we're going to ignore this little corner here. Oops, it would help if I showed that. And in the front of this, there's also a little piece that's going to come down this way, and that is a contrast piece. So right skirt front, very, very specific, cut one. You don't want to cut this on a fold. You literally want to unfold your fabric and only cut one. Now, some pieces you'll get, and this is really faint writing, and it'll say cut one on fold, which means it's centered. You're only going to have one piece of it. So here's the folded side. So you're literally straight up what it's going to tell you to do. You're going to line up the center fold here, and you're going to cut once. Now you'll notice that some pattern pieces I attach it to the fabric with pins, but some materials, when you use pins, especially if it's an outside piece like this where it's going to show, sometimes putting a pin in it can put a hole that can't be hidden. So for some of these things, you see that I'm using, you can use quilt clips. Honestly, I just got cheap barrettes and I'm using those to keep them in place. This is a good example of something else to watch for. So earlier I talked about pieces that you cut on the fold, so you're only cutting one piece. When you have something like this, let me see if I can get the phone to focus. It says center back seam, which means even though the back is symmetrical, you're not going to cut this on a fold. And in this particular example, the reason you're not going to do that is because there's a seam and there's going to be a zipper up here. So this particular piece in this example is going to be cut two pieces on folded side. So it's kind of the same idea of doing cut one on the fold, you're just not doing it on the actual fold. So I have a couple pieces on this pattern that need interfacing, and this is the interfacing that I'm going to use, very lightweight. And what interfacing does is it gives the garment or the project a little bit of rigidity, stability, you know, depending on the project that you're looking for. And in this case, if you look at it, it looks like it's going to be, see, this looks like, if I had to guess, this is going to be the neckline in the front. So the front is going to have a little bit of a V. I don't know where the envelope is, or else I would show you. So this is going to be the front, and see how this is a center fold one. So this will be put one on fold of fabric, and that's going to go in the front. Now, here's this. See how it's going to show. It's going to tell you if you need to cut interfacing. So skirt front facing, cut one on fold of fabric, cut one on fold of interfacing. So skirt front, that means this is basically, it's not quite a waistband. It's not elastic, but it is kind of a waistband. So this is going to be the rigidity on the top of that skirt so it doesn't get lumpy and bumpy. And then we have this is the same thing, but the back of the skirt. And this is not to cut on a fold. This is going to be separate pieces because remember I said there's a zipper. So this would be cut 2 of fabric and cut 2 of interfacing. And you get the idea. So this is the top, back facing, the center back. And so you guys, I mean, you're smart. You can figure out where the interfacing is going to go that's going to hold it flat or upright, depending on the project. I admittedly am lazy, so when I have a piece that's narrow like this, instead of pulling out the ironing board and the iron, I will resort to a flat iron. It works really basically the same with the plates, and you just go through and you make sure that the interfacing sticks to the fabric. You want the bumpy side of the interfacing to touch the wrong side of the fabric. That bumpy side is basically glue. So that's it. I got all my pieces cut out and I got my interfacing done on the pieces that need interfacing. And now I get to sit down and sew the final project. I'm very excited. I'm going to do a separate video for that. Bye.